Welcome back to Horrifically Well Read, Bled, and Said. Tonight we are going to be talking to one of my favorite bookstagrammers. She's known as HorrorHealsMe on Instagram. Candice, welcome to the show.
Hey y'all, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I feel like before we started this podcast, I just didn't understand horror at all. And then we originally were going to do the Hold Up, Am I a Horror Reader? And then after like the first 10 recordings, we were like, we got to change it to Horrifically Well Read, Blood and Said. It was at that time that your name on Instagram really, I was like, Candace had it right this whole time. Everyone's saying horror heals me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know when you created your Instagram thing, but you got it locked down early because I think a lot of people could have chosen that. Like, they feel that way.
Yeah, I made it in April of this year, maybe like late of
Oh,
March or something like that. So I had like searched, I was like, oh, I've been like listing all these names. I'm talking with my husband, and the whole reason why I started the page was to like just kind of explore more with people in the horror world, and I wanted it to really be dedicated to my friend who had passed like the previous April in 24. So I was just kind of like, I need it to be reflective of that. So I may not talk about her a lot, and I don't really talk about like books specifically healing me and in what ways, but like it did create this world for me. So I had searched the name and I had found that there was like one podcast called Horror Heals Me, and that was it, and there wasn't a whole lot else for it. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going for. So
I love
there's
it.
my name.
I love it. Do you find saying horror as hard as I do? Because I
Oh,
say it
yes,
all
I
the
was thinking
time
about
now.
that the whole time. I'm like, not a
It's just
horror,
like
it is horror.
horror. Horror.
Yeah,
I can only think of the only other word that's as difficult is rural.
rural.
Are you saying it's like, are you saying royal or are you saying rural?
Well, that and crown and crayon, I always called it crown and crown. I'm gonna color with my crayon.
Yes.
And it's funny because like we've talked to people like, all over in different parts of the country. And it's always interesting because like we've talked to a few Midwestern people and they're very like horror when they say, they say it like that. And I'm
Mm.
just kind of like, I don't want to say it like that. And I don't say it like that, but it makes it easier to pronounce when you do. And like, so it's just interesting,
I am guilty of saying horror, and
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
Oh, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
So obviously you talked about, that being the journey, and we can talk a little bit more about, specifically that if you are interested, but has horror always been a part of your life? Have you been a horror fan, forever? Is that newer to you?
So,
How's that been?
horror books are new to me. I have always been like a huge reader. I read all the time, like, always with my face in a book kind of thing. But I would steal my dad's Dean Koontz books, probably at an age that I was way too young to understand a lot of what was going on in them.
Would you say like
And,
age 6, 7 or?
like 8 and on. Yeah, like, I remember reading one about, like, a deprivation, like, chamber, and I definitely did the one, I think it was called The Howling, about the dog that was genetically tested, connected to this other creature dog thing. Yeah. But, like,
This seems disturbing. Like, did that set you up for at 8? Like,
yeah, it just like things that stuck in my mind. So like I read those a lot. My dad was a really big horror movie fan. So
oh,
I
okay.
watched a lot of horror when I was young that I
Yeah.
definitely shouldn't have been watching. Like it affected me in negative ways. Like I had nightmares, I would stay up. Like Child's Play is a movie that I won't watch again. The original It, I can't watch
Yeah.
again. Like it's just I'm permanently traumatized by them. But he watched a lot of like B movies too. So I
Uh-huh.
enjoy a lot of camp. I enjoy really bad movies, which I feel like has helped set me up to, and this sounds bad, but it's helped set me up to be like, I'm so gracious when I read books where I'm just like, if your idea was amazing and you had like a really good premise, like, I don't care that you're a new author and that like the writing might be
Right.
rough and you're just getting your
Right.
legs. Cause I'm just like, holy shit, your story like blew me out of the water. And I love
Yeah.
this.
That's so nice that you say that. I just want to like touch on a couple of things that you said. Coincidentally, tonight I was talking to Francesca, our foreign exchange student from Italy, and she was like, I never even saw the movie Pet Cemetery, but my dad told me about scenes from it. And she's like, I can't stop thinking about it. Like, it ruined me, and
Mhm.
you've never even watched it. So I think
Yeah.
just even hearing it secondhand at that young age, it's enough to impact. And I can't stand Chucky, Child's
Mhm.
Play, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's like I was thinking maybe this year for Halloween, like maybe I'll try to embrace it, and
Nope.
I'll just try to
Nope.
like, dress up. And I put a bunch of stuff in my cart, and then I was like, I can't do it. I don't want to watch it again. I don't want to be like, I'm just like, you're an adult. It should be fine. But it's not, because
Yeah.
the younger part of me is like, no, 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 we're not going to do that.
Yeah. No, like, there were times when I would, like, it was playing on the TV and I would happen to come across it and I'd watch a bit of it, and then sure enough that night, I'm an easy, like, to wake person, and so if something would wake me and my brain immediately goes to, "The doll's under the bed. It's gonna cut my Achilles tendon." Like,
Oh my god,
I'm
yes.
like, I can't with it, and, like, I could watch the new It, like, the new one that was made. I watched it, I mean, yeah, it was great and it was scary, but it doesn't affect me the same way that, like, Tim Curry's, like, It has affected me, and the spider
Yeah.
at the end, like, I'm scared of spiders, so it was a double whammy, so now I hate clowns, I can't do spiders, like, little tiny robotic dolls, I can't do it.
Oh my gosh.
It was funny, I think we're exactly the same age, and I remember when I didn't even watch the It miniseries, like, when it came on, but I remember watching I don't know if anybody remembers Entertainment Tonight.
Of course. Your
And
mother watched it
yes,
religiously,
and there
didn't
was
she?
yeah, they showed a preview for It, the miniseries on Entertainment Tonight, and it was the scene where Beverly opens the mailbox and he's inside, like, with the
Mhm.
teeth about to bite, and, like, just that, like, I all like, even now when I open up a mailbox, which I
Yes.
thankfully don't have to very much, that's all I see, like, the ones where you put your mail in for it to be sent out, like, the l big thing,
Yes.
Oh.
like, that's all I open, and I just expect the clown head to be in there trying
Yes.
to bite me.
Oh my gosh, wait, I sent a meme to Rebecca White, uh, of sticking mail in the slot, and I was like, "Leave your fingers in there a little bit and, like, lick the mailman's fingers," and she's like, "Oh my god, my husband's a mailman, and he loved it." Like, that's all I think
No,
about.
that's what yeah, Tim Curry's just got his little tongue there ready to get you when you put your mail in, I guess.
But, like,
That's it.
my other favorite clown meme is when the clown from It is talking to Ronald McDonald and points and says,
Mhm,
"He's killed more people than I have."
mm.
And I really love it, because 'cause I'm like, I can see that.
Now I'm
So
hungry,
true.
so
For fingers?
Which part of it, if you're scared of so much of this, which part of it does heal you?
That is the question that I constantly kind of think about, and I think that when I've talked about it with people, when I have my own silent, like, ruminations on it, I had a traumatic childhood, like, my dad was abusive, he's an alcoholic, like, I don't have contact with him, and
mm,
I think that horror has always been a very safe way for me to feel, like, tension and, like, fear in a controlled way that, like,
Yeah.
I didn't I mean, I did some extreme stuff, like, as a teen, but I didn't do a whole lot because I suffered from, like, anxiety, and losing control is really, like, hard for me. I really need to be in control of things because of, like, probably traumas from my past and lack of control and lack of autonomy, so I think that, like, the idea that I could watch something in a small snippet, it can give me some sort of a charge in my brain, but I know it's gonna end, kind of fulfills probably something in my brain that feels like, "Okay, that was scary, but we made it out, and that's fine, and we can keep doing it again." Like, I'm sure there's a whole bunch deep down inside of it, but that is my thought about it. And now as I get older and, I have my daughter and she's 18 and, like, all the crap that's happening in the world right now, I think it feels more like an escapism where I'm just like, "This is comforting somehow."
Yeah. I'm like, the number of people that have said this, to use this as a device to gain control and to safely explore, it fascinates me. It just will never stop.
Mhm.
yeah,
I
it's
never
like
thought to
yeah,
do that growing up in a proudly dysfunctional home. I mean, not, I think there's various levels. Mine was just like George Lopez's dysfunctional type family, you know?
your parents kinda hated each other is
But, like,
yeah.
it was like a fun dysfunctional home.
Was it?
Yeah.
Like, not always, but a lot of times it was. Like, I still had really happy, good memories intermixed with tough times, but,
Yeah,
like, it was
Mm.
not very similar to, or it wasn't like a lot of people's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Mhm.
I can understand why, like, as an adult, like, why my parents had, it's like a lot of conditions and factors go into, oh, this is why this made them like this or why they chose that. And I don't know if I could have done a better job. I feel like
Mm,
that now as an adult. Nevertheless,
yeah.
I there were tough moments and those things were hard. But at the same time, I had a ton of fun as a kid too,
Mm,
and really
yeah.
good things. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it was dysfunctional, but not to the level where some people are really living.
It's
Yeah.
really interesting, like, when you talk about it, it's like,
It took a lot of therapy to be able to say that, Candace.
Oh,
Because
I've had
catch
so
me
much
20 years
therapy.
ago, and I would have been saying, catch me 5 years ago, maybe pre-pandemic. Yeah, I
yeah,
think I would have still been embittered and
yeah,
not. It's like
Yeah.
you hit certain levels, and all of a sudden you're like, it's funny. I was talking to my hairdresser yesterday. She goes, once you can get over the fact that like you survived your childhood no matter what it was and you can make peace with it, like the next part of your life begins. Like you can handle anything then. I was like, that's
Mm,
kind of a good fucking point, Rosie.
yeah, I would agree. I think that the horror watching was a way to bond with my dad that wasn't traumatic, and I don't have traumatic
mm,
memories with him. Like, I have traumatic memories of the movies, but not with him in regards to it. So I feel like it's
Mm,
one of the only places where I don't try to shove down the memory of him or just the things connected with
mm.
him, because I have lots of blank spaces from my childhood that
yeah,
I've blocked out when I talk with my
That's
mom,
Adam.
family members, my sister. I'm just like, "Oh, I don't want to go into it." I have a my husband and I have been together for 8 years now, and I forget that I have this whole background that he doesn't know about because
Right.
I've moved past it. I don't need to talk about it so much more, and he's not in my life since my husband and I have been together, so there's
Hmm.
nothing to keep rehashing. So
Right.
I think that's the only small pocket of place that is kind of like, I don't wanna say cherished because I really truly don't cherish
Yeah.
a lot by my father, but it's the only part of me that I get from him that I don't want to actively forget, and I really
mm,
do enjoy that part about me because I feel
That's
like
awesome.
it's brought me to a lot of different people
Yeah.
and places, and I love where horror is going now. I think
Yeah.
it's amazing that it's not just this niche little thing, like, dominated
Right.
by, cis white males, and it's all the tropes, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Yeah.
misogyny, and there's a lot of kick-ass stuff happening from a lot of other people, and I'm
Yeah.
here for that.
I think that you being able to take control of the narrative of what you do remember and being like, okay, I didn't have this, I didn't have this, and I don't have a current relationship, but in these moments and memories of horror, that part of that childhood self of mine can exist and feel good about it and visit when I'm comfortable. Also, like not to be like dark humor or whatever to make fun of anybody who does have memory spaces like blank spaces like you and Adam, but what do we think about Taylor Swift redoing the song Blank Space, but for it to be more about blank spaces of memory?
yeah. I don't want to write anyone's name in those blank spaces.
Well, I just mean like how she's like, I got it. Well, that's what I said, rewriting. It's like, I
Okay,
got a blank space, baby. I'll write your name. It's like, what would you want to fill in when you have these blank spaces? Like maybe you fill it in with a horror movie or something that you,
reclaim those
yeah, that's what
places.
I'm trying to say. Like,
I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't
we're
feel
supposed
like
to
I
be a
need
joke
to
and you
try
took
to
it really serious. I'm sorry, Candace. He's looking at me like, what the,
Yeah.
why would you say that? I'm like, because like,
We don't joke about T Swift in this house.
I
It's a
really
serious.
I really never thought about blank spaces the way you said that. It's like you do. You have a lot of memory gaps. And I thought you always thought that was because of anxiety. Like you just and maybe that is what it is, but I mean,
I would
that's
agree.
a book right there waiting to be written about blank spaces or
Yeah.
capitalized on.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, that's true. I think that,
That's for Candace to write about horror heals me
yeah.
and how you fill in those blank spaces with things that actually make you feel
hmm
good.
When I have a blank space, I crawl into mailboxes and try to.
Mm-mm, bullshit.
Finds a creepy
But
doll to
not
cuddle
the
up with.
intention. It's supposed to be feel good.
Yeah, that feels good. I like to feel comforted in a small little fort, space sometimes. But no, that's really interesting when we talk about the horror as therapy and sort of why we want to expose ourselves to these like
Mm,
really dark things. It almost makes me think of, I saw a long time ago people that are really afraid of like flying, that they do almost like the virtual reality where it seems like it's
Yeah.
like a simulator where it seems like you're on it, but obviously you can take it off at any time, right? And it's sort of like horror, watching a movie or reading a book, it kind of feels that same thing where it's like, okay, the stakes are like, it's the ultimate stakes for these characters and stuff like that, and you get to experience that through them, but you don't actually have to have those stakes yourself, right? And you can
Yeah.
always kind of walk away from it whenever you need to. But generally speaking, obviously you choose whatever that media is. And I think about people especially that are like, "Oh, this is my comfort movie." And it's like The Conjuring. You know what I
I
mean?
don't
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get that.
I know.
But
I'm
it's
sure
like,
you do.
yeah, but it's like, for when you get to those comfort movies, I think a lot of times it's like, it's because, you experience that sort of fear, or that, like I said, like the ultimate stakes kind of thing, but you get that catharsis, and you know that that catharsis is coming, so you kind of like to experience
Mm,
the fear and that over
mhm.
and over again, whereas in life, most of the time, you don't get that
You don't
kind
get
of
that
Yes.
sense
thing.
of control or that pattern
Yeah.
of
Or
like,
that knowledge that at the end, even though
Mhm,
it's really scary right now, it's gonna be okay. You don't
mhm,
get that in life that
mhm.
you can take from the
Like, I feel kinda jealous
Yeah.
that I don't have this experience of ever using movies in this way
Mm,
because 'cause I'm really afraid of horror movies. Like, I can read horror books, but I can't watch horror movies very well. But I love that this is a tool that independently, all these people, including yourself, Candace, that you realize, like, this works for me.
mhm,
Like, because, I mean, really, when you think of all the ways that you could choose to regulate your nervous system, drugs,
mm,
gambling, like
Mhm. Mhm.
I would say dissociation through movies, but I feel like Adam, what you just said, it's almost like cognitive behavioral therapy and
yeah,
exposure therapy through movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I kind of was thinking of it along the lines of, like, when I was raising my daughter, I had learned in a book that, like, kids, their brains need to take risks, so they're
mm,
gonna find it however they can, either through sports in healthy ways with healthy outlets where they still take a risk, they still feel nervous, but then they feel a reward at the end, or they're gonna do it with risky behavior, with drugs, with, like, all kinds of things like that, and so I would always shove her into, like, "Let's just do a sport, let's do this, let's keep you active," and things that will give you that risk in your brain, and I would explain it to her so she understood, and I think that started to
That's
seep into
awesome.
me, where I was like, "I think this is what I do," because I would put on, like, The Walking Dead just, like, in the background, like, all the time. Like, I've watched, like, the first, like, 5 seasons, like, so many times, it just sits there and plays in the background, or, like, the comfort shows, or, all the horrible B movies where I'm like, I can put on Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and it can just roll in the background, and it's fine.
I
You
love
know,
it.
like dumb things where it is just, like, it's comforting and it's easy to do, and it's low stakes and it's funny, and, yeah, there's a there is definitely, like, a home feeling for it, but
Do you
society
think
makes you feel
like
other because it's horror. Like, "What's wrong with you?
uh-huh,
Why do you wanna watch horror all the time?" I'm like, "Well,
uh-huh.
it's better than the news. Tell me what's different."
Right, right. So do you think like Adam and I talk a lot often about how a lot of times it's one coin but two sides for certain scenarios. Like I've used the example over the years, like maybe we're both dissatisfied with food service at a restaurant, but he's gonna say, I want to talk to the manager and I'm gonna say, let's just leave and never come back. That's a
mhm.
total joke because
It's the opposite.
it's the opposite. But actually
It's what
it's changed
yeah.
now. You'd be like,
Mhm,
"It has changed."
mhm,
So I kinda have it correct now. But that's kinda how I'm wondering about for horror though, because maybe I was too overly stimulated. Maybe my nervous system was too fried and like that was how you guys controlled it and soothed your nervous system. Whereas for me to watch more scary movies, it was too much. So it's
Mm.
like it's both a nervous system issue, but one side of the coin, helped you to care for it, and then the other one just it exacerbated it. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, like, I definitely, again, I still felt anxiety watching it, like, stuff scares me, like, I think what was it?
Oh, like, it still
Insidious.
scares you, but you're, like, okay
Oh,
with it.
yes. Oh, yes. Insidious, like, when Insidious first came out, scared me, terrified me, like, I still watch it and kinda, like, close my eyes at, like, certain points, I'm just like,
I
"Oh my
do like
god."
that song in that movie, though.
mm-mm,
Tiptoe Through the Windows,
no.
oh my gosh, that
I
song.
love it. I really love that.
And it's
It's
funny
truly
because, like,
creepy.
it has those, like, really iconic, like, almost like jump scares, where the
Yes.
demon appears. But to me, like, almost like the parts that bothered me the most is when they were in, I don't know, I forget what they call it, that, like, other world
Mm.
place.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the, like, uncanny valley kind of, like, look of the people, and, like, those things, like, almost bothered me even more so. Like, that's a movie that I feel like,
Funny because that's when I was like, "I can watch this."
yeah, it's like the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm,
adult me can watch certain things. I'm very selective. Sometimes they hurt your
mhm,
feelings, though, because you'd be like, I want to go see this horror movie. And I'm like, I really love you, but like, I just don't think I can tolerate that. Most recently, that movie, Him, the football
I
one.
haven't
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that one yet.
Yeah, we didn't get
I
it.
was like, I want to see it. And I was like, I don't know. Did you watch the trailer for that? And I was like, no. And then I watched it and it got halfway through the trailer. I was like, nope, never mind. It's not for me. Oh my God, that is not for me.
Thought it was like Scary Movie 5 with football, but no,
Something.
because Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, it was not. And I was like, nope. But I did go see the new Nosferatu with you.
And you said that it went hard. Yeah.
It went hard, but it was more, it wasn't like,
I mean, it was like an artistic.
that's what I'm saying. I think the cinematography, the acting, all of that just really allowed me to kind of lean into those other things
The
besides
Orlock
like,
wiener.
what?
The Orlock wiener that really got you drawn in.
You know what? I think that's where my blank space is because I don't remember. I really remember
I
more
do
of,
remember
like,
that.
the female lead of her her breasts are exposed all the time.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on.
I was like, okay,
and that, obviously,
Johnny Depp's daughter.
When
Like,
you think about the misogyny there, that really is her. Whereas the Orlock theme, was,
yeah,
no special effects. He didn't have to.
this is like I think all the time. Like, what if you're an actress and you don't have a nice set of boobs? What do you do? Because so many of these actresses are just like I just watched that Hunting Wives Club on Netflix, and I mean her boobs are out constantly. Like it is the feature of the show, and I'm like, but like, what if she's a beautiful woman and a terrific actress, but she doesn't have great boobies? Like that's like such a. I've thought that all my life with like women because they're just expected in movies to show their breasts.
I mean,
well,
I
maybe
guess,
we need to like normalize odd tits. Maybe that's like a thing we need to have.
Normalize
so then, like,
odd tits.
all of them.
Either that or
now,
just
listen, I've been looking for things to give Joey. We already we have our fanny pack greasy buttons, and now we have the shirt normalize odd tits.
Do it,
Candice, get on it.
I just want a little pin, and I want like two misshaped.
I feel like there are a lot of women with odd tits though, because when you think about, listen, Joey knows how to draw an odd tit. If you listen to the Chalupa cover episode, okay,
or his response,
I did, yes.
But I mean, a lot of women say like I've got one cup size bigger than the other.
Oh
I
yeah.
think the normalization has to be like one, normalize that they don't have to get naked on.
That's what I thought she was going with, but then she took it better and said normalize odd tits, and I was like, I'm here for it.
At the same time, it's like you said, like it's like
what? Like, wait, what if we normalize putting googly eyes over the nipples?
Yeah.
I'm for it. I'm trying to go weirder. I'm trying to be like normalize having like a normal one and having like a creature or like teeth or like tentacle or like something coming out. Like
mustaches. I was like, all right, cool.
I want a weird
I'll go with it. A little mustache nip.
Well, like Haley Piper's, what is it? God, I can't remember it.
Queen of Teeth? No.
Queen of Teeth. Yes.
Yes.
Favorite book. I loved it.
Yes.
I was just like, I'm here for this. More of this, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never, like, anytime I even think about peanut butter, that's
big peanut butter.
That doesn't, I think of Rachel Harrison play nice with the peanut butter.
Well, you
that
need to read Queen of Teeth. You won't think about peanut butter the same way again after that, for sure. But okay,
it's worse than a demon smearing peanut butter all over the cabinet.
I'm just saying, yes,
yeah,
absolutely, yes. It is, yes. But
so I take advice from someone who's afraid of a clown in a mailbox.
Okay,
I'm also afraid.
You're going to the mail your little.
Are you going to shame me about my mailbox fear?
Listen, you're like, okay, it's 1992 or whatever the fuck. You're going there.
You're saying you still think about it as an adult.
Listen, let me finish. Okay. You go to this mailbox, you're like, let me send this letter to my little pen pal in Wyoming. And you open that fucker up, and there's a clown with gigantic teeth going to bite you. You're going to be like, whatever.
But he does.
That's not going to scare you?
I thought you were with big tits, big odd tits.
Yeah.
I think we see that on Dragula a lot. So I think.
Oh my God. Well, listen, I got to go on one little side quest thing here. My mom.
We haven't done that yet. So let's.
Okay, we're going to go a little bit deeper. So my mom has this like deeply unfounded fear. Like her nightmares are always of getting her ankles cut, like standing next to the bed and having her ankles cut.
This isn't a Pet Cemetery reference?
No, it's always Jim Carrey that does it to her.
That fucker.
Jim Carrey. All the time.
Like as a certain character?
And she could tell that like
straight actor.
No, it's just Jim Carrey. And it's like for years she's had it. And she's like, oh. or then she'll have a dream about like a witch trying to get in the window. Those are like the ones that have plagued her. But yeah, I was like, I don't know where the Jim Carrey thing came from.
Yeah. Wow. That
She'd
is
be like,
super
I'm not
specific.
sleeping well these days. I had a Jim Carrey dream. I was like, okay.
I mean,
Is
the
it like
rubber
what
face
era Jim
quality.
Carrey?
Yeah, that's what I'm
What is
thinking.
it?
What era
What
of
era
Jim
Jim
Carrey?
Carrey are we talking about?
Let me find out.
Yeah.
How long has
I've
she
gotta
had
know
to
now.
scream?
I would say I heard it's probably 25 to 30 years.
Okay, so we're talking like Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey.
I'm going to find out while we're talking here.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm getting made fun of for literally the scariest clown in history scaring me, but Jim Carrey slashing ankles is just
I
fine.
think one of you has to dress up as Jim Carrey with a knife for Halloween. Just saying.
My God,
Just crawling around.
one time when I was a kid, my brother put on like a mask that looked like a haggard, like old man with like one of those like brown beanie caps around, and he stood up right next to her face and woke her up, and she scratched the living
Oh
shit
yeah.
out of his face. I mean, like, so I'm a little terrified to think if I.
Nobody said you had to attack your mom dressed
Yeah,
as
but she
Jim
will.
Carrey.
Maybe it's worth it for the gram.
Yeah, it
Maybe
might
it's
be.
worth it for the
Yeah,
podcast.
someone's gotta, like, let's set up a hidden cam.
There you
Maybe
go.
for her Christmas, I could like see if Jim Carrey does like cameos and him be like, I'm coming for your ankles. Merry Christmas.
His cameo would be like a $10,000 or something on there, so no, that's pretty crazy.
Okay.
Can you
What?
imagine the trauma that would cause?
That is
Just
so
randomly
unique.
sent a video?
Yes. Oh my
Listen,
god.
maybe I could get Joey to draw
I was
Jim
just thinking
Carrey?
you
Jim
could have
Carrey.
somebody make a card.
Yeah. And he like opens it and it just like, she would love it.
You
Roses
need
are
Jim
red,
Carrey
violets are blue. Jim
characters
Carrey's gonna cut your
also
fucking
doing it.
ankles.
Yes, I love
Yes.
it. Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a naughty daughter.
Oh,
Okay. Let's get
okay.
into whatever important thing you were going to ask.
Yes, very important. So I wanted to ask two things. So I want to get into like a couple of different authors that I know we've talked about, um, and sort of why you love them so much.
Oh, yes.
Before that, I want to say like, this sort of like a horror community and like all these kinds of things. I always think about like, especially like younger horror fans and stuff. And I guess it's my grumpy old man thing. But it's like sometimes I just want to be like, do you realize how fucking good you have it right now, you bastards? Because like I just remember growing up and even like high school and early college, it's like up until like, not that long ago, it was hard to find a lot of horror. Also, it was like they talk about the othering of horror so much. And like totally like still see that, and that the horror section's always like the smallest one at the bookstore and all that kind of stuff. But it was like so hard to find anything, and it was so hard to find anyone that was into it too.
Mhm.
And like I think that like growing up, like being a horror fan, like I don't think people, kind of think about like in the 80s and 90s, like that was not an easy thing to do. Like for me anyway, like growing up in high school and that kind of stuff, it's like Columbine era, it was like you're a sick fuck if you like this stuff. So it was
Yes.
like it just, to say like now it's like it heals me, and all this kind of stuff. It's like I felt that way totally at that time, but like it was such a like almost like a lonely experience being a horror fan. Did you like have that too?
It was not something that I bonded with other people over. Like, once I was not, like, doing it with my dad, I was kind
Yeah.
of just doing it solo.
Yeah.
So, like, and I didn't feel, like, lonely in it. I didn't have a large group of friends, and, like, the friend who passed away, like, she'd been my friend since 12, and she was
Mm,
not a horror, like, watcher. It was just something that I always pursued by myself. Like, even going into relationships, it was kind of like this not desirable part of me with people that I dated. Even like my
mm,
ex-husband just like thought it was so morbid that I
right.
liked like watching the stuff that I would watch it. There was a lot of shame around it when I did it. So it became more of a thing that I did in private. Like my daughter was young, so I'm not going to watch it around her, but like
Right.
I also didn't watch it when like he was around. So there was a lot of like nap time watching, like if he was gone surfing, I'd like watch it. Like, I just did lot of it on my own, so it's, like it's refreshing because my husband now, he likes it. Like, it's not even a thing where he's like, "Yeah, I'll join you." He's just like, "What are we watching? Do we have spooky movies to do?" Like, it's nice because he wants to do it, and he never did it when he was younger, so there's a lot of, like, for me, classics where I'm just like, "You've seen this, right? You've seen The Thing, right? You've seen Nightmare on
Hmm.
Elm Street, right?" And he's like, "No," and I'm like, "Oh my god." and I get all dramatic about it, and then I make them watch these things,
Get to experience it, like, for the first
Yeah.
time again almost.
Yeah, but it's always been a very solo act, and reading the books especially, like, I read a few King, but only because it was, like I was just a reader to escape life, so whatever book I could find lying around is what I read, and my dad had Dean Koontz, so I read all these Dean Koontz books, and
Mhm.
then we didn't have money, we were poor, so, like, I didn't do the Goosebumps books, I didn't do any of those things, but, like, we had Nickelodeon, so I watched, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark and whatever spooky shit, and my dad watched, like, The Dark Side, and, like, I
Right.
saw Tales from the Crypt, so, like, I saw a lot more of, like, TV media than, like, book media for horror.
Mhm. Yeah.
And honestly, until probably about like, I was not aware of, like, the book world of horror. Like, my sister
Yeah.
turned me on to Spooky Curious's, like, Instagram page and said, "We should read some scary books." So I was, like, following her and her alone, like, in my regular Instagram world, and I was like, "Oh, there's some cool books on here." So I started, like, borrow some from Libby, and, like, Haley Piper's, A Light Most Hateful was, like, the
Mhm.
first horror book that I read. And I was
Love
like,
that book.
"Oh, this is amazing, and this is so different." And, like,
Right.
it was just, like, this eye-opening thing where I was just like, "Oh, it's not whatever it was that I was thinking," which I don't think I was ever thinking about it other than, like, Dean Koontz, Stephen King, like, and then the kid books,
Right.
like, from, like, teen life and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's just opening lots of worlds where I'm like, I don't have to be private about it. I don't have to feel ashamed about it. And it's not like stuffy old men stuff that like that's not the only thing that's out there anymore.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. No, that's so true. Because you know, I feel like I read a ton of Dean Koontz too, and then into Stephen King, and read a little bit more widely with horror and stuff like that, but it was very similar that like that sort of time frame of like 2023, 2024. When I started discovering, I think it was like Anya Alborn, like brother, and a few other authors, where I was just like, okay, this is doing stuff that I never imagined could be happening, and it just like you said, it opens up this world, and then it opens up to all these people, and I see, like, obviously we connected through this Instagram community, and
Uh-huh.
I see that you have, all these people that you hang out with, in real life and stuff too. It's like the fact that there's like a horror gym, that you could go to now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I live in
Where?
California, and I'm, like, an hour north of, like, LA in the Burbank area, and Final Girl Horror, like, I met her in real life, like, we're in the same book club here in town, and she goes to all these amazing horror-themed places, and there's this one called Killer Fitness that's in Burbank, and it's, like, all horror-themed, like, workouts with movies playing in the background and, like,
This is
these
bullshit.
accessories that are, like, horror themed and stuff like that. So it's yeah, there's a lot of, like, now in real life, like, horror stuff, like, I haven't been in it for a long time, but it feels like there's, like, this huge boom around, like, horror being a lot more acceptable. Like, Burbank has this whole little strip with all these different, like, stores of nostalgia and other horror and kind of creepy, weird other, apothecary gothic, everything kind of stores that you can find now, and it seems a lot more
Yeah. I'm
mainstream
always
in
looking at
bigger
her
cities.
like pastries and drinks and all these kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "This is amazing."
Yeah. It's
I
everywhere
like
now, it feels like.
am very jealous. I actually would really like to try that gym.
Yeah, I actually saw what CJ Lee just went there recently
I
too. I
saw that,
think he had
yeah.
posted about it, yeah.
Yeah, I went
So
to one class
that's just
with Marina from Final Girl Horror, and she
uh-huh.
I'm like, I'm so not
What?
coordinated, and it was like a dance class, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't do
Ugh.
this." But we went, and it was fun, and we had, like, a whole day trip and, like, went to a bunch of other places. But yeah, that's, like it's now, like, 45 minutes away from where I've moved to. So,
Yeah.
I'd be like,
it's exciting to have, like, a community of people in real life.
yeah. They're like, "What are your vacation plans this summer?" It's like, "Oh, I'm going to California." "Oh, yeah, what are you visiting?" "The horror gym?"
Yeah, exactly, obviously.
I
I'm
would do
jealous of
that.
you guys. There's so many, like, book events that you guys get to go through, and I'm just like, "Is anything gonna come to California?"
It
I
is
don't
wild because you have the
That's
core,
true.
you kinda have, like, Liz Karen, CJ Lee, Chuck Tingle out there, it's kind of, like, always doing stuff, but you're right, like, we definitely are spoiled and,
Yeah.
with Twisted Spine opening up in,
Yeah.
Brooklyn and all these kinds of things, definitely is
Okay,
very
all
cool.
right.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
It
nothing is
like
accessible, like,
slightly
there's
mitigates it
constantly I'm
for
like, "Is
me.
this one gonna be close? Can I drive to this one?" Like, I went, like, at the beginning end of last month with Marina to LA to I think it was, like, Skylight Books, and it was for Rachel Harrison's Play Nice, and CJ Lead was there, and I think Liz Curran
Hamlet,
as
yeah,
well. So that was
yep.
it. That's, like, all I've gotten. That is the closest that I've gotten. I think, like, Stephen Graham Jones was at, like, at Barnes& and Noble, like, somewhere down south, like, months ago when I didn't know anything about anything. So, like, there's
Mm,
just I'm like, I keep looking, searching, I'm just like, "Is anything cool gonna happen for us?" And it's few and far between, and if I just had all the money, I'd just fly to all the book
yeah,
festivals
Yeah.
and events.
Well, I know one of the things
just
that
house swap for,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
you know, do the holiday, except instead of
right, for
a
a
little
horror gym
cabin,
and
and
for
it'd
yeah,
be
exactly.
instead, yeah, for horror book events. But, the work of Eric LaRocca was one that we definitely, like, connected
Yes.
over, and obviously at Stoker, I got that book signed for you, and,
Yes.
it was so nice, like, that, I mentioned, I was like, "This is this person," and Eric was just they're just the nicest freaking person you'll ever meet that writes the most horrifying things, you
They are
know
so nice.
I just, I'm interested. Eric's books are so hard to pinpoint, like, what even, like, you'd like, oh, there's a vampire book. This is this and that. And that I was talking to Eric about this, that it's like, it's so hard to, like, even describe what these books are about. But they have this power, when you read them.
Mhm,
And they're also so disturbing and so awful, some of the things that happen. What do you think attracts you? Because it does me too. Like,
mhm.
they're books that, like, I finish it and I'm like, I never want to read another book by this person. And then, like, a week or so later, I'm like, I wonder when they're coming out with a new book. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, what do you think those books do for you?
So, to get, like, some context for this, on top of really liking, like, horror books, like, I hit my teens hard in being, like, the kid that watched the weird shit. "Have you seen this weird" and it was basically movies because I graduated in 2000 and I was poor, so I didn't have a computer, so I was
Mhm.
not an internet kid. It was
Yeah.
like going to our local like indie movie store and renting and we have this great place in Ventura. Sadly it closed during COVID, but it was Salzer's Video. And they carried all the strange, avant-garde, edgy, like just downright awful, think you're John Waters and just go from there.
Yeah.
So I also spent a lot of time smoking a lot of weed and watching a lot of these movies on repeat, and it became
Yeah.
like this weird source of pride for me to be able to watch these things and actually enjoy them and then just tell people that like I watched them and shit like that. So
Mhm.
I feel like when I started reading Eric LaRocca's books, that they kind of gave me that book version of like, whoa, this is weird. I feel like I'm now searching for like the weird shit and I'm finding it. So it's like the world is like almost normal. He had a Patreon for like they had a Patreon for like a couple of months and I was a part of it. And they had written that they like build like they like write these like almost seemingly normal worlds that are like slightly off. Like there's
Mm.
just something slightly different about them. And I was just like, that's it. That's how all of these feel. It's like you feel like you're reading just like a normal person interaction, of things happening between people, but you get
Yeah.
this undercurrent of like, what is this like cesspool that everything is growing out of, Like why does it feel normal, but at the same time, like it feels so wrong. And I think that's what I love about it is just like it doesn't have to be a creature or, something that is otherworldly. It is the horrors that are people in general. Like there's plenty of fucked upness in human nature and I feel like they capture that so well. So like when I read The Skin Is Not Mine and Other Disturbances,
Mhm.
the, like, last story that was about, like, just the 2 old men sitting in the park reminiscing about the, like, one-up game that they would play with each other and talk about all the little fucked up things that they did, and it's just like, they're old men,
Yeah.
like, you would never you could see old men sitting in the park and they're like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And you have no idea that they're reminiscing about all this jacked up shit that they would do,
Yeah.
and then it just ends the way that that story ends, and I'm, like, reading it, my, like, heart's pounding, and I'm just like, "That's so fucked up. That is so fucked up." Like, I love the idea that you can just walk out into the rest of your world after reading that, and you just look at people and you go, "I don't trust you."
Yes.
And that's what kind of draws me to, like, Eric's books. Like, I truly love just how under my skin they all get and how just,
Mhm.
like, disturbed I feel, how unsettled I am, how, like, my heart starts to kinda race. I get, like, a little, like, loopy in my head as I'm reading 'em, going like, "Am I really reading this? Is it really gonna happen? Like, is the thing I think is gonna happen happening? Oh my god, it's happening." Like,
Yeah.
like, it becomes a real super big rush, and I think I get addicted to that rush because 'cause I'm like, "Will it always feel this way if I read it again?" And I've reread some of the stories, and I'm like, "Yeah, this still feels the same." Like, I just re-listened to We Are Always Tender with Our Dead, and I had read it
Mm.
the first time, and now I re-listened to it, and I was just like, "Yeah, this still hits." Like, this is all still super, super fucked up, and this is you know, they're like, it's kind of normal, but then you have this, like, other unnormal shit happening, but it seems so normal, but also the town
Right.
seems so otherworldly as if it exists in its own bubble, but we also know that there are towns that, like, they're small enough that they exist like that, so
Mhm.
how am I to know that this isn't really real?
Right, and it's wrapped in just beautiful prose,
Yes.
like, the skill in the writing is so amazing, and the fact that that, like, lush, beautiful prose is saying things that are so disturbing is this,
Yes.
like, juxtaposition that, like you said, it creates an almost, like, otherworldly or, like, this sort of, like you're almost, like, beside yourself watching, these things happen.
Mhm.
It is that, like, at any point, like, the most normal, banal thing could happen, or the most disturbing, strange thing could happen, and either way, thing is as likely as the other.
Yeah, and I love that there's an element of I have weird thoughts,
Yeah.
like I have, like, weird things that go like, "What if? What if I did
Mm.
this? What if this thing happened?" And I feel like they go there and they
Yeah.
go, "Well, we can play this game. What if
Mhm.
this?" And I kind of love this idea that there is a person who I've never met but seems incredibly sweet by everybody else's, like,
Oh, yeah.
words and standards, so that this incredibly sweet person could have also this same kind of, like, I have weird bad thoughts too and
Mm.
I put them in a book. And that doesn't make me a weird bad person because it has always felt like if I say the thing that's in my head out loud to the wrong person,
Mm.
they have this now like really bad idea about who
Yeah.
I am where I'm just like I can't just have a thought,
Yeah.
like I'm
And
not
there's
going to
no
do it,
going
but I
back.
have a weird
Yeah.
thought. I want you
Yeah,
to
it's like
discuss this with me.
right. And that's, like, sort of what, like, transgressive horror is, right? It's
Yeah.
like, where is that line and what happens? What are the implications of it being crossed, right?
Yeah, take me to that taboo, and I wanna see why, and I know that it's, like, social norms, and a lot of them are taboos for, like, reasons that are
Right.
when wholly 100%, like, I support them, but that doesn't mean that, like, my brain doesn't still, like, have these weird, like, ticks where I go, like, "What if this? What about this?" Like, the things I say to my husband
Mhm.
sometimes, I'm sure he just kinda goes like, "That's really odd. Why would you say that?"
Well, it's almost like, it's kinda taken to that extreme, but it's almost that feeling of when you're close to you're driving on, like, the side of the road and you're like, "What happens if I swerve off?"
Oh
Or
god.
that
Yeah.
that pull to a bridge of, like, jumping off or, whatever it is,
Mhm,
and it's like
mhm.
Yeah.
it's sort of like that in a sort of, like, story, book form of, like, there's a reason that you feel that way. There's a reason that people do that, and I think that when you talk back to the movies that kinda do those things too, there's a ton of shitty movies that do that, and, like, there's like you said too, where it's almost like this badge of honor that I watched this, really
Mhm.
horrific thing, right? But then you find that movie that's, like, really good and does that, and it's
Yeah.
like this whole new experience, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what Laraka's books do too, where it's like, this is an artist that's really good at what they're doing. There's, you know, a it's almost like this oddly purposeful whittling down of who your audience is. And you think like there's an interestingness to that in for me too of like saying when someone writes, when someone does this, like it is for the art, but ultimately they're trying to reach the widest audience possible, you think, right? But
Mhm.
like what if your art is like it is going to make 90% of the people never want to read something that you've ever written again. And that's like what you purposefully do. And I'm like, that is just fascinating to me.
I agree. I think it's a special person that can kind of like own their talent and not lose the essence of it while still pursuing being as widely known as possible. And they seem
Right.
like they're achieving that. Like I love that they are still getting all this recognition, but at the same time they seem to still know who they are and they're operating true to that course within themselves, you know, like they're not trying to be liked by everybody and they aren't being pushed by, you know, whoever's taken them over to like be widely accepted. Like it's not trying to dampen them, like, you know, make it more appealing, make it more palatable. Like it's the leaning in and the acceptance of the fact that like this person is big because they don't concede, you know, like they're doing exactly what they want to do. And I love that because it means that it's opening up the door wider for other things to come through, which would make it just a bigger world for a lot more people out there because the world is still so limiting for so many
Mm,
people even though we constantly are trying to like make it not so limiting. It's still some limiting. There's still, you know, we're in what year are we in? 866 to like want to just limit people
yeah.
and hold people back, like, it just feels like
Hmm.
we're living in, like we are living in regressive times, so it's refreshing to
Yeah.
see somebody that is able to do their most horrifying work and be embraced and be pushed out into the world in, like, the biggest possible way, like, I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, definitely. It gives me like feelings of like not just like the French extremist, horror films, your martyrs and that kind of stuff, but like
Mhm.
it really makes me think of even more like a David Lynch or a David Cronenberg kind of thing where it's like these are true artists and like you watch a movie and you're like, I don't know what just happened. Like I watch Mulholland Drive and I'm still like, I don't know what the fuck just happened to
I
me.
don't think I'll
But
ever know what happens in a Lynch film sometimes.
and then like, the interviews where it's like, would you like to expand on that? No. And like that's
Yeah,
it. And it's like
yeah.
with Eric, it's like, I love that he they post the reviews that are like, "This is the most horrible, disgusting thing I DNF," and Eric's like, "I love this review," It's like,
Yeah.
I just that's just so fantastic to me, and, you know, I think some people sometimes are like, "Oh, is that really true?" That that's the way that they feel about things, and I think that, like, for it to be working, you have to be getting those kinds of reviews, and I love that, they embrace that.
Mhm.
Just want you
Yeah.
guys to know that I did get a text back from my mother, and
Uh-oh.
it's the mask. Didn't carry the
Oh,
mask.
wearing the mask?
No, that's you said what era?
Oh, the
Oh, Jim
mascara
Carrey, The
of
Mascara,
him.
okay.
Okay.
I said I'd follow back with you.
Yeah. I love that. Now I'm just thinking of, him slicing that ankle and then just going smoking,
No, he's saying, "Somebody stop me."
singing Cuban Pete while slashing ankles,
Ugh.
Oof, in that
so
horrible suit.
oh my. So, no, that's really interesting. I think that, we've talked to a lot of people about different, parts of horror. And I think that LaRocca's works and even like Haley Piper at times and stuff like that,
Mhm,
when you look at the like dictionary definition of horror and like that disgust and that feeling, it's like there is a place for that. And I think that there's a reason sometimes that you want to go there. And it's not all the time and it's not every person, but I think that just like when we talked about the healing and the sort of like therapeutic, there's something therapeutic about looking at as ugly as people can get and still walking away from it somehow, right?
mhm, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree,
So
100%.
yeah. No, that's great. So all right. So this was fascinating and
I feel like we really had a good therapy session talking, and I loved listening. I haven't read any Eric LaRocca yet. I've met them, but I haven't ventured into
mhm.
it yet. But after hearing everything you've explained, I feel like I have to take the plunge.
Yeah, I
What would
think
be your
that
first book?
yeah,
I
I think things things have gotten worse since we last spoken is
I
usually
don't
like
know. I
the
feel like I'm
kind of
interested
space to
in
start.
because what if I really like it? Maybe I want to do the Dark Sparrow.
Burnt Spirit, yeah,
Dark Sparrow. Yeah.
that's diving in.
Okay.
That's
So I
seriously
start
diving
lighter.
in.
Okay. All right.
I would say that, or even like at Dark I Become
Yeah,
Loathsome is a
that's the one
little
I
like,
was thinking
yeah,
about the most.
That one was
yeah,
good. I really liked We Can Never Leave This Place. I feel like it was,
Okay.
that one was I enjoyed that one. I know that wasn't, like, a lot of people's, like, favorites, but that one really kinda spoke to me. I loved the imagery of it. It was really good, and then, The Skin Was Once Mine and Other Disturbances. It's just,
mhm,
like, some short stories, but
yeah,
I feel like that one too, like, they do short stories, like, so well that you can dive in and just, like, get one done and be like, "Okay, can I go and do the second one? Can I do the third one? Can I do the fourth one?"
yeah.
Um
I love that aspect that it almost, like, gets back to, like, as a kid, the heart of
Mhm.
horror of, like, okay, you're in this basement with these, like, videos that you've rented, and you're like, "Can I handle this one? Is this one too scary? Is this one too much?"
Uh-huh.
Like, it almost, like, brings you back to that childlike feeling of horror, like, which is really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's palatable in chunks, and you can get your feet wet and see if you.
Yeah, I love it. So follow Horror Heals Me on Instagram. If you're not, you're a fucking idiot. So make sure that you do that. Let's
And I
get
was gonna say, if you don't,
You're gonna get your ankle slashed by a masked Jim
yes,
Carrey.
or we will accuse you of not supporting what?
What?
What do we call the
What?
tits?
Oh,
Odds.
Yeah, that you're not a
yeah.
supporter of odd tits.
You know,
That you feel like tits have to be perfect,
you
and
know
they are
what?
just as they are.
Exactly.
Truly.
What a wonderful message.
Yep. You're welcome. Look, that's what I'm here for. This is my second tit heavy episode. I'm proud of this.
Yeah.
I am here to bring
Same.
the chaos.
Yes. And we love you for it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so
It was
much.
so fun.
Yes. Really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
yeah, hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and we'll talk soon again.
Y'all too. Have a good night.
Yep, you
I look
too.
forward to it. Okay, bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.